Can you hear me now? Okay.
Okay. Why did it do that?
I don't know, but we're going to have to turn it to the other thing for them to hear.
Okay, so don't forget to do that. Can you hear it now?
Can you hear us now? Oh my gosh. We've been sitting here talking for 2 minutes and ain't nobody. It's okay. Because maybe there's a good lip reader out there who is able to understand Southern talk.
Right. So basically, we were talking about
what's up, Yang Gang?
It's going to be David Kim, Andrew Yang, CLARA, and they're doing a virtual brunch. And it's a fundraiser for David Kim, so we paid $25 to be able to live stream it for y'all. Trump has coronavirus, and that's everything we said.
Now just start moving your lips.
Oh, stupid. Anyway, that is starting in about 10 minutes. So we wanted to get on here a little bit so we can get it ready for you.
10 minutes till game time.
Right over to it.
Yes, and you know what? I hope that we'll try to make sure that we get the audio put to the thing, and the thing.
Yeah.
It may take us a second, so please be patient with us because we are like the best live streamers in the world, and we appreciate you being here.
We're best.
Shout out Andrew Yang and David Kim.
CLARA. I'm not sure who CLARA is. If y'all know who that is, let me know because I didn't do my research on CLARA. So
who is CLARA?
I tried to research CLARA.
It just says CLARA, right?
CLARA in all caps.
Maybe that's an organization or
here. I got you right here. Give me 1 sec. Right here.
It says Virtual Brunch with Andrew Yang, CLARA.
Apparently that's CLARA. Y'all know who that is? Am I just like not in the know? And a live art auction, y'all. What? And a surprising guest.
What? We don't even know who the special guest is going to be. I'm feeling very well. Mostly well. Well, kind of not well, but
anyways, we hope he has a speedy recovery. I mean, we never would wish harm on anyone. It doesn't matter who they are.
She is an up-and-coming musician. See, that's the thing, right?
Okay, thank you.
My gosh, I hope it's not. I hope she's probably. I guarantee you, without even listening to her as a musician, she is way better than that chick that put out rap.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she's definitely gonna be better.
I have not ever listened to. I listened to like 30 seconds because I wanted to see what
it is, and it took like 10 seconds, and it was like, nope, turn it off. This is the most awful song in the world, right, y'all?
It's just
Cardi B.
You just, you just took women back like 100 years with that song. I mean, it's so horrible. It's like the message is horrible, the song is horrible, the beat is horrible. It's just a horrible song.
No singing.
That's just my opinion. I mean, if any of y'all like it, I don't know music. So we appreciate you being here. And that's the whole thing of like, okay, so people are finding it hard to have this humanity first attitude towards Donald Trump because of how they perceive Donald Trump or how he is. Everybody's reality is their own, right? We are just co-creating this thing. But isn't that in essence the whole purpose of humanity first? Is to be that bigger person, to be that one who can forgive, and try to move on and help build bridges instead of, when you wish harm on another person, you're wishing harm on yourself, no matter who that person is, because we are all connected in this universe, for good or ill. We are all the creator experiencing life from every perspective. So, y'all, we got to take care of each other. We got to love each other. And that's that. I guess that's all I needed to say. Listen, I mean, I am ordained, so I can preach. I'm allowed to preach.
I can't join it yet.
Legally. Can't join yet?
I just wanted to make sure that it's going to let me.
8 minutes. 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
2022 is bad. 2021 better be good. I sure hope so.
It's got to be better. I was going to say it can't get much worse, right? But it can, unfortunately.
Can it?
So let's hope it doesn't.
Because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, man, you got all these other countries that don't like us.
Mm-hmm.
They see weakness right now, not only in our president, but in our elected members of Congress.
Right. In the division in the entire country. Like, we're a hot mess.
And I'm thinking to myself as another country, man, they're struggling right now. Right now might be a good time.
A good time for what exactly, though?
To do something. I don't know.
It doesn't make sense, though.
Why? If you have a transition problem, an authority transition problem right now in this country, Trump's not releasing the reins. He's supposed to have already released the reins to Mike Pence, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because usually when the president is ill, the vice president takes over all.
But you notice he hasn't done that.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with that. Murphy's Law states that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And that seems to be the theme of 2020. Why am I clapping? I'm clapping actually because what y'all can't see is there's a cat right below my legs and he's trying to jump in my lap. I'm trying to like clap. So it'll stay away. So.
Adorable cat. Oh my gosh, cats make live streams better. Look, oh, I wish you could hear this purring right now. He's such a big baby.
And this is what I don't understand about Tiger King. Like, if I get a little bit rough with this one, like he'll start attacking me. So like, why in the world, man? Why would I have a tiger?
They're much bigger. They're like a big cat. So you start playing around with them, and they're just gonna eat your face off. So
he gets playing.
This one just can't because he's too small. He would if he could. Playing.
Look, I know this doesn't have any. These people are probably bored as hell right now. Listen.
Sorry. Andrew Yang will be here in a minute.
Andrew Yang will be on in 6 minutes, Slim Shady. So we thank you for sticking around. Hi, Dolores. Thank you for being here. 700 Vic says that Trump pays $750 in taxes. Listen, man.
He used the loopholes that are there that we all voted.
Every one of us would use those loopholes if we could use the loopholes. Let's not kid ourselves because none of us want to pay taxes. And as a real estate person, you can write off a lot on your taxes.
And yeah, it sucks. And yeah, he should. I don't know. I feel like.
What? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Because I'll keep
I know.
Going.
I was just gonna say. I feel like as a decent human being, you see that you're like a millionaire, and it's like I can help people. If you're not paying taxes, at least use some of your money to help people or something. You know, like nonprofits. I don't know.
And I don't know Trump's finances, so I can't say whether he has or whether he hasn't. But the fact of the matter is that Donald Trump is only using the laws that Congress for the past however many years has been passing. So guess what? Both sides work for the same corporations, y'all. Donald Trump ain't doing nothing that none of these other rich people aren't doing. Or that we would do if we had that kind of money. We would be sheltering it too. You know, staying away from paying.
But then you look at Andrew Yang's tax returns, you see what he paid in taxes and how much he gave away too to help people. Like, I mean.
So you're saying that Andrew needs a better tax guy?
No, he doesn't make enough to write off everything.
Right,
so.
but Andrew is also not in real estate big.
Right.
And that's where a lot of Trump's write-offs come from. When there are so many write-offs when it comes to real estate that it's unreal. I mean, that's why we're trying to get in real estate so that we can have investment properties. Are you guys living in Vermont right now?
And thank you. How do I say that? I don't want to say it wrong.
Just don't.
I want to give you a shout out.
We are giving you a shout out right here. And we are not going to even attempt to pronounce your name because we are Southern and we like to mess up.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, we are living in Vermont right now. Why are you trying to find me? Trying to find me, bro? What's going on?
Vermont's a decent sized state. No, it's pretty small, but still, come join us. It'll be fun.
They said that we go by pride. See, we're even going to mess this up because it could either be Prady or Pridey.
True.
So,
I'm gonna say Friday.
And we're gonna overthink it, so we're definitely gonna mess it up. So, but thank you. Yes, we are. Deutsche Bank loaned him over $2.5 billion over the last decade because no American bank would touch him.
He's bad with money. Like they talk about how he's a businessman, entrepreneur, and he's so smart.
He's not. He's a promotional guy. You know what I'm saying? But that just shows you where we're at in this country. Because we are like so disenfranchised with our government as a whole that we were actually willing to elect this crazy SOB to go into the White House and tell everybody, you're fired. And he's done that, but he's just probably fired all the wrong people. Because unfortunately, the swamp is still there. Both sides work for the same corporations.
What's happening?
So we are going to the live stream as we speak.
It's gonna need to use the camera and the microphone. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get the stream of Andrew up. Hold on.
I guess you gotta allow it.
Okay.
Cameras have been turned off.
It's being used over here, so just leave it like that. Wait, what are you doing?
We're gonna share the screen.
Not yet. Not yet. I just want to make sure we get it right first before we do that.
We're muted.
All right, now we need to share the screen. Okay. All right, y'all. It's time. You ready? You have to remove that comment.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our VIPs in here. Let's see who's in here. We have Boyce, Davis. Hi, Katie. We have Landon, Elasa. Let's see, Jane Ann. Got Haley, Aiden. Hi, Abby, Nate, Joseph, Nathan, Daniel. Oh, Clara's husband. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Hope you guys are having a great cup of coffee or a donut or an egg sandwich or another brunch item of choice. We are about to get started.
Hello, everyone. I don't know if you can see I can see and hear myself, so that's always an excellent sign. Hey, Cindy, how are you?
Hey, good. Good to see you.
Hello.
David loading up.
Hi, Andrew.
Cool.
Hey, David, is that you beaming in?
I am being here with a big, bright smile. Yes.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Your race. Wow, like a month out.
We have 30 days left, Andrew.
That's wild. How are the mechanics of California voting? Like, are people already getting ballots in?
Yeah, we just got our we got our mail-in ballots. Mine's right here. Oh,
very exciting. I don't know. Oh, there you are. You're beaming back in.
Cool. Perfect. All right, Cindy, let's get started.
Okay, great. Well, we're gonna start off with a lightning round Q&A for all the VIPs. So I have a list here of 16 VIPs who signed up. Thank you guys so much for your support. We're gonna just give you a chance to unmute and show yourselves to Andrew and David and ask any questions that you have. So let's get started. David, can you try speaking so I can make sure I can hear you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, awesome. Yes. Okay, so let's start with, let's see, Landon. Are you in here, Landon? If you want to unmute and turn on your camera, we'd love to hear from you. Any questions that you might have for Andrew and David?
Sweet. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome.
Hey, Landon. Welcome.
Thanks. Cool. Yeah. So here's the question I have. I've struggled with depression for many years, and I've seen how the COVID crisis and the economic pressure and the widespread, like, low emotional intelligence has been impacting those around me mentally. And I'm wondering how we can solve the mental health crisis in California and this country.
I'll take a shot at that. The first thing we have to do is start actually acknowledging the severity of the crisis and how widespread mental health struggles are. There's still a stigma against it in many communities. But if you were to actually show where we are, you would see that we are in a terrible, terrible place where the country is concerned, California among it. And after you get a baseline, then you'd have to look at what we could do to invest in our mental health. So we all know I'm for, and David's for, universal basic income. David, I'm not sure if you're for some of these other things I'm about to throw out there too, but I think a 4-day work week would help a lot. I think having, yeah, I figure you would be. I think we need to get our arms around what social media is doing to our brains. I think that would help a lot, for our kids in particular. I think having a whole new cohort of mental health professionals, so that if you wanted to see someone, there actually is someone. If you go to a lot of rural parts of the country, and California, I'm sure, like, you actually don't have any counselors, therapists, psychologists even available. And there are many people who'd love to fill that role. It's just we make getting to that point very difficult and expensive for folks. So I would invest in a giant mental health initiative from the top down. But the first thing is to acknowledge where we are right now, which is in need of help.
That's awesome. Great answer. What about you, David? What do you think?
I mean, before, excuse me, can you guys first of all see my video? I think we're having some technical issues.
We can't, but we can hear you.
Oh man. Okay. I'll try to borrow someone's laptop. But yeah, I mean, meanwhile, I think it's important for us to really prioritize things that our people really need right now. And I think Landon nailed it on the dot. One of the things that we neglected and ignored for so long are our own mental and emotional health. And with that being said, how are our families coping with this during these times? What are we doing for each family unit, especially with having children at home, and even with our children and adolescents themselves? And I think on a long-term scale, it's one of the things that we can look at to show if we're prioritizing or not is the allocation of our funds. Why is it that we're allocating millions for police presence at our schools instead of allocating for mental health counselors, for counselors that would be able to provide them extra help and assistance that they need. So I think it's first definitely the awareness, the acknowledgement that it's a high priority, and then the action that needs to be taken with it. Yes, of course, including mental health care in all of healthcare coverage and providing that as more accessible is key. But I think the first and foremost thing is it a priority for our elected officials? Because if it is, then yes, we can do so many things with that.
Awesome. Thanks, David. Thank you, Landon. Great question.
Thanks, Landon.
Awesome. Okay, next we have Aiden Rude, our super fellow. Okay, Aiden, let's hear it.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can see you too. Hey, Aiden.
Awesome.
Hey, Aiden.
Hi, Andrew. Hi, David. Well, thank you so much for taking my question. First of all, thank you to Andrew. Thank you to David for everything he's doing. And thank you to Andrew for being someone who really changed my life and set me on the path I'm on now. I've been an organizer for 3 candidates now, with Andrew being the first. So thank you so much for that. My question is, thank you. So my question is, as a 15-year-old who's working in the political arena on campaigns and stuff, I know a lot of young people who don't really get involved because they don't have a vote. They see, change isn't happening around them, and they feel like, as like kids or teenagers or however old they are, they just, what they have to say doesn't really matter. So a lot of people, don't want to volunteer, don't want to get involved. So what would be a message you'd give, or a message I could give to all these young people who, as to why they should care about politics and get involved in the process?
I mean, the single biggest thing is just to look at you. You'd be like, I'm like 3 candidates deep. I didn't even vote yet. I'm making a bigger difference than like 99% of people who do vote, which is true. I'm sure you are. So people seeing you in action, Aiden, you'll be like, wait a minute, you can do that? Campaigns actually want like a 15-year-old to help, and they're like, oh yeah, they really do. And then the issues that young people care about around, I'm just going to take a guess. Climate change, mental health issues, firearm legislation, like whatever it is that the person cares about. It's like, look, we can actually make an impact on these things right now, even before we can vote. And you probably know, Aiden, I was for trying to lower the voting age to 16, which I suggest would also be something that a lot of young people would like, because they're like, yeah, like the argument being, look, you can drive a car, you can pay taxes, you should have a say on where those taxes go, and it would transform high schools around the country. This is not that, like, I think something like 100 members of Congress voted for a bill like this, which actually means that there's a chance that we could actually make that law. But the main thing really is just to demonstrate through action. Like if people see you doing what you're doing, Aiden, then young people will be like, wait, that would actually be maybe the best argument. They're like, look, a lot of companies and employers won't employ you in ways that actually make use of your talents, but political campaigns totally will.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And Aiden, I think you're like a living testament and example. I think but besides giving them words, I think what you're striving and fighting for is enough. I think and also kind of on a strategic, I mean, because a lot of, I mean, at that age, I know the first question that came up for me is, what's in it for me? And I think it's about framing the conversation, like, what's in it for you? Do you want, I mean, not to be a Debbie Downer or negative Nancy of, do you want a country where we have pollution everywhere, and not in that sense, but then also on a flip side, like if they're applying for college and doing apps and whatnot, like volunteering for a campaign is a huge thing to write about. It could be that thing and basis for your personal statement when you're writing, and that's where you're able to really show like what you're fighting and passionate about. And I think by starting and helping out on a campaign, that's where young people like yourself can start to figure out, what's my place in society? What am I passionate about? What things strike a chord in me? What gets me on fire? And I think those are the things that are really things for you guys to walk away with. And yeah, and thank you for helping out with our campaign, Aiden. You've been, oh my gosh, a tremendous support. But yeah, keep on doing what you're doing, Aiden. I think you have what it is to go ahead and answer all those questions. Cool. Cindy?
I love it. You're the math hat and the Patriots, which, I give the Patriots a hard time, but whatever. It's only because they've been whipping my team for decades. I mean, who cares?
Oh my gosh, Andrew, who are your favorite teams, by the way?
I know on the football side, like I was a Jets fan growing up, so that was always tough. Watch the Patriots beat them, and then now I'd say I'm kind of a nomad, or I'm a little bit teamless because the Jets have become, impossible to root for for a couple of reasons.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have here, I think, Stuart.
Yeah. Hey, Andrew.
Stuart
Good to see you,
Krasno.
David.
Hi, Stuart. Nice to see you.
Wow. All I can say is, first of all, how great to have two people who understand that government can be about putting people first. And I think to that end, I think what has happened is we leapt into the future. What we're doing right now, and how we all, we live in a world kind of no traffic and, wearing sweatpants now. And I really don't want to go back to the other way of doing business now that I know I can do it from my dining room. What do you think is going to happen? Are we creating sort of these ghost cities? What's going to happen to our bigger buildings, especially, David, you just drive anywhere in LA now. It just feels like these office buildings are almost like ghost towns, and they're creating almost more havoc than they even were before. So I guess, what's the future think on how we adjust to the fact that many of us might just want to do work like this from now on? What happens to the buildings?
Yeah, I can go on first on this one, and Andrew can follow up. I was walking the other day just with some other campaign team members, and we noticed just a lot of buildings, like what you said, office buildings being vacant, and then schools just being completely empty. What are they being used for? And I think this is something that we can all, like here in Los Angeles, I know that some of you are aware, some of you may not be, but we spent $600,000 on building a single unit for our unhoused community members, when we could be spending a lot less than that, when we could be taking over buildings that aren't being used, when we could be using different means and utilizing them for others. And so I think that's one area that we really need to tap into and think about as a city and as a community. But then in terms of the future as it stands, I mean, for those who are able to work from home, I mean, they're fortunately one of the few that are able to go ahead and do that, because what we know is that the majority of people, especially our essential workers, aren't able to work from home behind a desk, a desktop or a laptop, or live stream from home and work from home in that. And so obviously there's going to be advancements and developments in those careers that are able to do that. But how do we also take care of those that are currently out there working as essential workers, especially during this pandemic? But I mean, like what Andrew, and then on another note, what Andrew had shared earlier, I envision a 4-day work week in the future as well. What does that all look like in terms of how everything plays together? Are we really focusing on human beings being a work output and a work number only, or are we really viewing them as being human lives themselves, having value because they're human? And so I think with that, once we're able to prioritize that, then I feel like we'll continue to revolutionize in the work industry and labor force that we have right now. And so I'm curious as to how that will develop as well. But I'm totally curious to see what Andrew's thoughts on that are.
Yeah, Stuart, I agree with David in the sense that we have a lot of hotels that should definitely be getting utilized as shelters right now, essentially, because you have like essentially unused, right? Like, who's traveling? It's like if you look at like the hotels in LA, like how many business travelers they really hosting right now, and then you turn around and then there are people on the streets everywhere. So we need to try and meet the supply to the need. That does not apply to most office buildings, which you would not use as shelters. And commercial real estate is going to be unused and vacant for months and months until there's a vaccine. And even post-vaccine, I agree, there are a lot of people like you, Stuart, who do not want to go back to the old way of doing things. And so you end up with like a rolling wave of some kind of repurposing of some of those buildings. Not all. Some of them are just going to end up being housing shells. And you're right that there are real problems with that. Like if you don't upkeep a building properly. So we're going to have this set of derelict buildings for the foreseeable honestly, you know, and it wouldn't make sense to go and try and demo any of these buildings right now.
Not great. Well,
I would not want to be a commercial landlord right now. That's for sure. Because like, who the heck are you going to talk into like coming in, like renting your office? You know,
right? Exactly.
I shouldn't laugh. Awesome. I mean, landlords too. You know, it's just one reason we need government intervention for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. Great points. Okay. Well, let's move on and start getting more questions. Do we have Paul Yee in here? Paul Yee. Otherwise, let's go to Katie.
Katie.
Yeah. Katie, are you in here?
Katie
just sent a check. No, I'm kidding. Is Katie around?
We'll take a check too.
She's like, I'm down.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Katie.
Hi. Oh my God, two of my favorite people. Well, one of the things that I am very curious about is sort of the future of healthcare. I think this pandemic has really struck a nerve with the country because we see so many people who are without, and our social safety nets have been completely devastated during this pandemic. So I know, Andrew, when you first were running, you were not for Medicare for all. And so I wonder, has there been some evolution on that thought? Where do you think we're going to land in terms of healthcare in this country?
I've been for universal healthcare and a public option the whole time. And certainly the pandemic has made that evident to even folks who weren't on board. But yeah, universal healthcare is a must. The big problem right now, Katie, is that we're spending twice as much on our healthcare as other countries. There's just a lot of companies, drug companies, insurance companies, et cetera, that are making a ton of money off of a ton of inefficiency right now. I just talked to a woman yesterday who was talking about how in California, there's a fight for you all. David, you should get in on this, where there are insurance companies that are essentially profiting off of old-fashioned ways of delivering dialysis treatment, where you have the patient go to the dialysis center. It's very expensive, but they're making a lot of money. And now you have portable dialysis machines that can make that such that it's much cheaper and easier for the patient. So, of course, the insurance companies are fighting portable dialysis. And there's like a ruling right now. It's going to trial in California as to whether that's going to be the law of California. It's a really, really big deal. I mean, these insurance companies are literally like, hey, we're making a lot of money, so doesn't matter what's good for the patients. Let's like just keep making this happen. So it's that type of battle times 100, times 1,000, times 10,000, because there are so many of these companies that are making so much money off of current practices. So you have that on one side, and then you have all these uninsured people on the other side who are looking up being like, what is going on? Like, you know, why is it so expensive? Why can't I get a hold of it? It's a massive structural and incentive problem, and there's no real way to solve it that does not involve government going in and trying to provide better incentives and better access. There are going to be some people that make less money, but that's just the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
Ideally, I'm even describing best case.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And Katie, you know that I'm for Medicare for all. In regards to, in addition to all of the reforms that we need to make, I think something that to really point out is that our hospitals also don't have, they're not being regulated as much as they could be. I know that I worked on a Kaiser versus Prime Healthcare hospital litigation case, and obviously for confidential reasons, I can't share what I saw in there, but it just made me think, wow, we need to have the government to step in, because there's no reason that there should be this much money being mismanaged and misused, whether that be with salaries or administrative costs or items that are made onto the accounting sheet that you really can't verify to a certain extent. And so I think with all of this, like, the people are really taking the short end of the stick with all of this, because it's all about corporate profits, all about short-term maximization of profits. And so that's really the core of why these problems continue to happen. So I think, yes, Medicare for all reform, that's all great, but we also need to be vigilant as to where we can actually be more efficient. So yeah, thank you for asking.
My parents are in Taiwan, where they have national health care, and they are blown away by how easy and cheap everything is.
Taiwan! Proud Taiwanese over here. Thank you so much, Katie. Awesome. We'll go to Brad next. Hey, Brad, you're up.
Hello there. Cool. So my question is, I heard about, there are a lot of other modern countries that have groups like a council that will regularly look at their minimum wage and other measurements of the economy, inflation, things like that, and regularly change their minimum wage. And one of the things I've been thinking about is it would be cool if we had some kind of a council like that that looked at minimum wage and the UBI that we're giving out and are looking at the economic measurements on a regular basis, 6 months, every year, maybe every 2 years. Because as we know, we haven't changed our federal minimum wage in a really long time. And so now imagine if we're able to get UBI through and then, you know, another 10 years or 2 decades goes by and now the UBI is kind of irrelevant. So have either of you guys ever considered or heard about those groups in other countries that are regularly changing it? And have you ever thought about doing something like that here?
Thanks for the question. UBI, in my mind, should be pegged to cost of living. So, you know, it would float with whatever is happening to our prices. But I have seen these councils in other countries, and America really should use them in the same way. And so there are different versions of it. You could have groups of people consider all sorts of questions. You know, there something called deliberative polling or civic juries. So one of the problems right now we have in American life is we run polls and we're like, hey, Brad, what do you think of this? And you haven't studied anything on the topic. You're just like, well, I think we should do this and we should do that. And we're like just turning to all of us. So the way deliberative polling works is you have a group of people who represent the United States population, but then you actually give them time and information and different inputs and policy points of view, and then they come out with a judgment on things. And lo and behold, most people generally agree with the judgment. It's sort of like a sense that the common sense would be superior to the judgment of our legislative bodies a lot of the time. Example, like right now with our stimulus relief bill, if you got a group of random Americans together and said, hey, you think we should like something with people? It's like, you know, 90% of people are like, yes. And then only like out of Congress, it's like, you know, they can't get it done. So different councils make a lot of sense. I would love to have advisory councils on and deliberative polling and civic juries on things other than economics. So economics would be a very good first place to look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree and piggyback on that. I'm in support of those councils in terms of being more connected as to what should actually be an appropriate rate for all of us, because all of us know, especially here in Los Angeles, while everything else is rising, the prices of whether it be rent or mortgage or cost of goods, all of that are rising, but our income isn't. I remember seeing something the other day where since the 70s, like our prices have continued to gone up. If our minimum wage had done also, it would be well over 22 or around that number. And so I think these are realities that we can't continue to ignore and just bury into the sand and say, oh, it doesn't exist. Like, no, we don't need to work on that. And again, it all comes down to priority of what our elected officials have. Like, what are they fighting for? And apparently it's not that right now. Right. So,
unfortunately.
Thank you for
awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Brad. Okay, we're gonna just wrap it up with one more question, and so we can hit on to the rest of our program. And we have, let's see, Gilbert Galan. Please share with us your question. Hey, Gilbert.
What's up, guys?
Hi, Gilbert.
Kim, Andrew, looking sharp. David, you look like a politician I would vote for, and or a flight attendant for Hawaiian Airlines. What's up, man?
Okay, Gilbert, what's your question?
My question is just for both of you, like, just on a personal level, like you both are in relationships, and you're in this crazy political like chaos right now, and just being in the public eye. How do you guys deal with your partners when they are feeling a little like, hey, pay attention to me? What is the pragmatic approach to that?
The pragmatic approach is to try to be on the ball and present when you actually are, you know, like with the family, because if someone's doing work while they're supposed to be like minding the kids or whatever, that like pisses, you know, the spouse off in a way that, you know, it's almost like easier if like you're like working and everyone knows you're working, versus like when you're supposed to be on family time and your attention's wandering. So the main thing is just to be present when you're supposed to be present. And I find that goes well in my marriage.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know how Andrew does it all with being a dad, being a husband. I give you mad props, Andrew. Yeah, well, for me, I mean, it's just my boyfriend at this point, but I'm thankful. I think it's exactly what Andrew said, being present. I know that there's a lot of times where I'm like talking to him, but I have like 10 campaign things in my head. But it's really just emptying that all out. But then also being intentional in terms of knowing what I'm going to get into the 5 love languages, but knowing what your partner's love language is and communicating in that. So if your partner's love language is spending time or words of affirmation, connecting on that. And I know for mine, it's time. So I try to intentionally carve out time. That's one of his biggest ones. Andrew, it looked like you were about
Yes.
Love language. I gotta start learning some love languages.
I'll send you a book, Andrew.
There's 5.
5 love languages.
Yeah, 10 for women. I'm just kidding. Thanks, Gilbert. Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Whoa.
That's the end of our Q&A. Okay, I'm going to toss it over to Christina O'Connor for our next section.
Hi, everyone. My name's Christine. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can, Christine.
Oh, really? Awesome. So I am the press director and co-policy director on David's campaign.
You guys, please don't ever run. Please don't ever run. Same thing. It's going to hurt us a lot.
I'm sorry, David.
That's okay, Christine. Go ahead.
All right. So first question. I'm going to read 3 statements, and you guys have to figure out which one is the lie. So here we go. This one's about David's political activation. David became politically activated while working on Kenneth Mejia's campaign. David worked as a volunteer coordinator on that campaign. David was briefly registered with the Green Party while working on Kenneth's campaign. Which one is the lie?
Is that for me? Because I certainly would love for David to answer this one.
Can you guess?
Oh, geez. Strangely enough, I'm going to guess the second one.
Yes, that is correct. David did not work as a volunteer coordinator. In fact, he was a video coordinator and a canvasser and a phone banker.
Yes.
Nice.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
All right. This one is for David. This one's about Andrew's endorsers. Andrew was endorsed by social media CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Andrew was endorsed by tech leader Elon Musk. And Andrew was endorsed by actor Nicolas Cage.
The first one. Mark Zuckerberg did not endorse him. Yes.
That is correct. He did not endorse Andrew, in fact, was endorsed by social media CEO Jack Dorsey.
Yeah, the remarkable thing about it was those other 2 statements were true. The Yang gang, it's true.
All right. Let's see. This one is about David and UBI. So Andrew, this one's for you. UBI is one of 7 core policies that David collectively refers to as a floor to stand on. David spoke at the LA Basic Income March for 2 years in a row. And the third is David is the second person to bring a UBI trial to Los Angeles after Mayor Garcetti, who is a member of Mayors for Basic Income.
I'm going to say number 3 because I don't think that Garcetti's LA trial has launched yet.
That is true. David is the very first LA before Mayor Garcetti, who is a member of Mayors for Basic Income. This partnership between David's campaign and Steady will track the effectiveness of UBI and help to provide evidence for its usefulness. All right. Very good, you guys. Okay, this one is for David. This one's about immigration reform.
Okay.
First statement, our immigration quotas are
Ooh, lost ya. Christine, you there?
Do you want to tell me?
Yeah, I think they're
Okay.
gonna switch her.
Got it. I'm like all ready.
Cool.
Smart water, the only water Andrew Yang drinks.
Great ad, Andrew.
I'm kidding. I
Got Christine back.
All right.
All right.
So, statement one, our immigration quotas are outdated and do not reflect current needs. Statement two, it can take up to 10 years to get a green card through our current system. And statement three, legal visa holders can be displaced or deported by an executive order.
Just say the three again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Our immigration quotas are outdated and do not reflect our current needs.
Mm-hmm.
It can take up to 10 years to get a green card through our current system. Legal visa holders can be displaced or deported by an executive order.
I'm going to guess the second one, David. I think it's even longer than 10 years. That's my guess.
Well, I don't think there's a time limit. I'm just trying to go through the Rolodex of cases in our firm. I mean, okay, I'll go with second.
That is correct. It can take up to 20 years or more to get a green card through our system.
Wow.
20 years is pretty long.
I knew it. Never underestimate American bureaucracy.
All right, David, this one is for you again. The first statement, this is about Andrew's past. So statement number one, from 2000 to 2005, Andrew Yang worked at a series of startups. Statement two, Andrew earned his JD from Brown University. Statement three, Andrew Yang grew up in New York.
Number two?
That is correct.
Okay.
Andrew earned his JD from Columbia.
Yes. Got it.
Yeah, Brown doesn't even have a law school. That's why you've never met anyone. Like, I don't know law. That's not even a thing.
I was going through it. I was like, I don't remember ever applying to Brown. But,
Awesome. One more.
All right, Andrew, this one is for you. This is about David in Congress. Statement one, David will be the first Korean American to represent LA's Koreatown. Statement number two, David's dream committee is in ethics. And statement three, when elected, David's first priority will be enacting meaningful COVID-19 relief legislation.
The first one is true. For whatever reason, I'm like doubting the third one makes sense to me. So I'm doubting the second one. Like, I feel like his dream committee would be something. I mean, I think you would like ethics, but I feel like there could be other things. So I'm going to say the second.
Okay.
That is correct.
That's correct.
David's dream committee
Wow, that's-
assignment is either budget or ways and means.
Yeah.
You know what it is? Because David's a very practical sort, and I mean, you know, it's like I thought it would be something that would like touch people's lives very directly. Look at that.
You know your endorsements well, Andrew. Thank you, Christine.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. We're gonna kick
Thank
it
you.
over to Peter.
All right, what's up, everyone? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. What's up, everyone? I want to give a thank you to each and every one of you guys for coming out here and supporting the David Kim congressional campaign. If you're wondering who if you can't see me, but if you're wondering who this little Asian kid introducing this event is, my name is Peter Din, and I'm a fellow for the David Kim campaign. I'm 17 years old. I'm a community activist in my hometown of West Covina, California. WC represent, and I'm also a member of a political TikTok group, POC Politics, which is how I met David in the first place. So when I first talked to David, I wanted to interview him because he was an Asian American running for Congress, and we usually don't see that. But when I spoke to him, I saw that there was a representation far deeper than our individual ethnicities. I think I saw a representation of values between David and I. The value that you cannot claim to be a champion for working class people while taking money from special interests that prevent them from surviving and having a living wage. The value that you cannot tweet climate change is real while taking money from the very corporations that make it real in the first place. David understands that, and he understands that it is not enough to just be a progressive candidate. It is enough to be a progressive candidate with integrity. 2 years ago, I got open heart surgery. And when David found out about that, he messaged me on Instagram and he told me how inspired he was about me. And when I first saw that notification, I was like, this is somebody that deserves to be in office. And this is somebody that, excuse my language, but I'm going to work my ass off to get in office. And I'm not alone in that. Between, you know, he has supporters from the Zoomer generation to the Boomer generation, and they're all equally excited about the movement he's creating and what he's about. And also, I'm going to be honest, when I first talked to David, I wasn't really sold on the idea of a UBI yet. I'm sorry, Andrew Yang, but I genuinely wasn't. But when talking to David, I think he sold it to me in one simple phrase, which I'm going to summarize because I don't want to, you know, bash the quote. But he basically said money is power, and a universal basic income gives power to the people. We all know it is time for a Green New Deal. We all know it is time for Medicare for all. We all know it is time for a universal basic income. But most importantly, we know it is time for somebody in DC that looks like me and you and understands the problems that me and you face every day because he's experienced them himself. David is that person. And as much as David says he's inspired by my story, I can tell him 1,000 times more that I'm inspired by him, his existence, his campaign, the people behind his campaign, and the movement that he is leading. I think that David Kim is the real deal. And if we want change in this country, we can't have anything short of that. So I'm proud to say that David Kim is fighting to give me a floor to stand on when it has felt like my entire life there have been interests trying to take it from under me. So with that being said, I want to introduce the very talented CLARA, who will be performing for us today. And finally reiterate another thank you to David and his wonderful campaign for giving me the opportunity to speak. And I thank you again for all of you fighting to give power back to the people, one donation at a time. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the event and have a great day. I know you can't see me, but I'm smiling right now. See you guys.
Thank you, Peter.
So much, Peter.
What a speech. Hi, David. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, CLARA.
Oh, what a good time. So we're here to talk more about the state of things because there is quite a state of things. There's a lot going on. What do you feel like? Where are we as a country? Where are we going? Over to either of you.
We're going either to 4 more years of disastrous leadership or 4 years of a chance to rebuild. And having David in Congress increase the chances of that rebuild being genuine and human and successful, as opposed to like a slightly less bad version of the track we're on. So we have a lot on the line this November. Having David represent 34th California district be enormous for so many people, and we're in the last mile right now. Like votes are literally getting tallied in certain parts of the country. So that's where the country is heading, CLARA. Either do a very, very deep, dark hole, which is pretty much where we are right now, or a chance for something better.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm not going to add anything other than, we're going to either really dark ages again, or we're going to be able to push a temporary pause on everything that's happening and be able to finally have some space, some time to think things through, to re-strategize on how we can start moving forward. So please vote for Biden and Kamala for those who are watching, because our country, our communities are on the line right now for the next few years.
And get David Kim into Congress. That's what we're here for.
Yes.
And I mean, with that said, where can we go? Is voting kind of the only place we have to look to? Where can we go?
No, I'd say the first things we can do, really, it's in our own lives, our own mental health, our own physical health. I mean, right now, we're online. We're all together online. But life is still happening in the real world. So you just have to take care of yourself, your loved ones. If you and your family are good, then everything else becomes more possible, frankly. So first and foremost, help yourself, family members, people in your community directly. And then if we can help people like David win their races, if we can help organizations that are helping people, the more, first, if you have a foundation, which is what David's fighting for, then the more you do for others, the stronger it makes you. So there are a lot of things that we can do right now, but it starts with yourself, your mind, body, spirit, your relationships, your families.
Yeah. I think one of the key things for us, I mean, voting is is one of the first things we could do, but it's also one of the last things we could do, given how you see it. So it's a matter of, if you can't go out there and stand and protest because whatever reasons, that's your call. But what are you doing in terms of staying connected with the issues, because these issues aren't just important to other communities, they're important to your own community, because they're all interconnected in a way. And I think for all of us, we just need to realize, oh, actually, it's not just me in this world. I'm actually a part of this world in which I play and interact. And so I think it's a matter of just still having the hope, personally connecting within yourself, connecting with your family, connecting with others, because that's how we can really start to mobilize and organize. And so even if it's not just talking about politics or government all the time, it's talking about, hey, like, what can we be doing right now as a community or as a family during this pandemic? What can we do? What can we be doing about our emotional, mental health as a community, as a family, as friends right now? And I think those conversations, yeah, they're talked about on the national scene in news, but I think there are conversations that also need to be started in our own groups as well. So.
Yeah, could not agree more.
Yeah.
Did you have something else to add? Sorry.
No, one thing I love about David's campaign is it feels more human than political. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the things that that I tried to reflect myself when I was running. There are a lot of Americans who are turned off by politics, and I understand it very much so. And David's essence and spirit really, it does transcend what you see from most politicians, and I think people gravitate towards that very, very significantly. It's why David's doing so great and poised to grow and then upend the establishment and win in just 30 days or whatever the heck it is.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I was just going to say, Congress has no idea what's happening out here in CA 34, but once we win, all eyes are going to be on us. And we're going to go in there with humanity, with compassion, with some smiles. I know that Marianne, she nicknamed me the Happy Warrior, but we're going to go in there with that kind of fierceness, but then also with an aspect of humanity and love. Clara, before you continue, I just realized that we haven't actually talked about Tayan.
Oh my goodness, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, we don't need to?
Let's do a little plug. Tayan, everybody, is a talented storyboard artist, and she's been drawing, or I don't know the correct term, but she's been making 3 art pieces that are going to be live auctioned at the end of this. And so stay tuned for that. But back to the question. Can we get back to the question?
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
So yeah,
this is me personally. Claire, did I miss a musical performance by you? Because I've been like watching your videos in preparation for today, and so now I feel like, did I miss that?
Q&A. We got to keep them around.
Oh, sorry, out of order. All right, continue.
Okay, so yes, I can't agree anymore. Everyone has their own lane they can occupy. They can help in their own way, whether it's like conversations or just working on self or donations, voting, of course. But why vote? And because voting is something that is so intimidating for a lot of folk, and most people just kind of see the president and the vice president. And if I can amend the question to why vote, it's also like how to vote, how to go about finding out about local and state. Over to you guys.
Yeah,
that's one reason why candidates like David are so important, is that people are excited about you, David. People have not been excited about politics, or didn't even know who their member of Congress was. And then after they get excited about you, then they start caring about various local candidates, local issues. I think a lot of it is around trying to find someone in your community that you can sense is trying to do the right thing, and then you get behind that person. And one thing that's happening, I'm sure, to you, David, is that like after you follow or support one candidate, then you'll discover a couple of other great people who are trying to do good things too, and like the same community. And if we can do that, then politics will become much more relevant to a lot of people. Because I agree with you, Clara. It's like you look up at the top ticket and you're like, or maybe you do have a strong feeling about one candidate or the other, but you also have this instinct, well, like my vote's not going to matter at that level, or my energy, my volunteering, but they 100% will matter at the local level. So we need more awesome people like David to run for different offices, and then I think people get much more excited about voting. And the folks who aren't excited now, I get it, because you have to give them a reason to feel like their voting actually will make a difference in their lives.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's a matter. Don't overwhelm yourself for we're thinking, oh my gosh, there's so many ballots and measures and propositions and candidates that I need to vote on, and I don't have time to catch up on all of that. I think it's a matter of finding something that you're passionate and worth fighting for, whether it be that one candidate or campaign. And then once you find that, that'll connect you with everything else, whether it be the community that's behind it or the leaders leading that movement or campaign. Because then you'll find out, oh, these are the values that I'm fighting for. This is the community that I can trust, and then you'll be more exposed to that. So just take it step by step, just like with everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of voting, so down ballot, down ticket, can you guys explain to the people why we should pay attention to down ballot races and what they are, maybe even?
Yeah, down ballot races are just local races. David's running for U.S. Congress, so that's, it's down ballot and presidential, but it's like a very significant race. I mean, down ballot could be school board, city council, certainly mayor, town supervisor, any of those races. Again, not that many people are volunteering or engaging in those races. So if you decide to get involved, you can make a huge difference. I guarantee you, if you reached out to your school board member and were like, hey, I'm going to campaign for you and help you, they would love you. All of a sudden would be like, and those down ballot races are enormously important because most policies actually get implemented and enacted at the local level. If you just think about your own life, what's going on in your town is probably going to be more relevant to you than a lot of other stuff that's coming out of Washington. So if you can figure out, and a lot of that stuff happens in the dark, in the sense that that people aren't paying as much attention as they should. So if you actually start identifying down ballot candidates, you'd see the important work that gets done on the school board, the city council, everything else. And that's transformative. So David is both down ballot and up ballot, depending upon your perspective.
Wow, man. Yeah, I don't have, I guess I should go before Andrew. But no, yeah, in regards to down ballot, I think it's very important to, not only is just the local legislation that affects us more directly made on that level, but it's really kind of where it's our opportunity to step up and to be the voice that we have for our different communities. And I really feel that our government is supposed to, the one that's representative is one that represents people from all different kinds of walks, occupations, socioeconomic levels, backgrounds of life. And so that's something that all of us can participate in and start off with. And so down ballot races to me just represent kind of, that's our way to really engage as community in the first step and the first rung of the ladder. So it's very important.
Yes.
A lot of the down ballot people will end up progressing, to positions of power and authority too, so there's that too. If you wanted to go the circular route, in the sense that's like, oh, down ballot's important because eventually they'll be up ballot. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, the positions themselves are crucial.
Right. And why this race? Why now? Over to you, David.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. Yeah, why this race? So here for those who are tuning in who don't live in the district, we're one of the poorest congressional districts out of the 435. We have per capita incomes that are less than the average rent of one-bedroom apartments. We have the 12th lowest median income in the nation out of all the congressional districts. We have over 40,000 brothers and sisters living unhoused. The numbers continue to climb. And it's a matter of our government, our elected officials here on the city level aren't working for us. They're deeply involved in their pay-to-play schemes with developers and city politics and the corruption of it all. And so we actually need county, state, federal officials stepping in to stop that. But then when they're also participating in the same game of political bribery and corruption, what hope do the people have? And so right now, I think we're in a desperate state where it's urgent times. We can't waste another 2 years to re-elect somebody and hope for change to happen when it's the same people that's been in office. And so because every decision that is made or every decision that is not made affects thousands of lives in our district and millions of lives across the country. And so for us, we want somebody that's 100% grassroots, people powered, that is not bought out to corporate interests. And we want somebody that's fighting for stronger fundamental issues. And so that's fighting for recurring monthly cash relief during a pandemic like this, and not fighting for a means-tested rent relief fund that to have people jump through hoops to prove that they have no money. That's not the type of elected official that we want in terms of manifesting the will of the people. And so it's very important that we step up and we become the change that we've been waiting for. And so it's very crucial in our race, especially here in Los Angeles. You would think that we would be the leading voices in Congress, but we're not. We're just a follower. And enough with that, because that's not what Los Angeles needs. We have people moving here to fulfill and pursue their dreams. And this city, I mean, if we don't fix it up, we won't be able to continue that. And that's one of the things that I'm really fighting for, to make Los Angeles back to being a city of dreamers, where people are moving here, pursuing their passions and life callings. Because that's why we were born into this world, not to toil and slave away like ants till the last day that we breathe, but to really thrive and to pursue what we've been called to do in this life.
Well, why this race? It's really about the candidate. This David Kim is a remarkable human being who genuinely wants to do better for people, and he sees the problems and limitations of what the current approaches are. So would this race be the race if not for David? Of course not. But David is here, and David wants to make things demonstrably and dramatically better, and he's going to be a massive upgrade over his opponent, the incumbent. So we have to get behind him and give him every chance to get in there and then fight for us in the U.S. Congress. And if David does win, then it's going to be a political earthquake, because this is going to be one of those things where it's like, what? Yeah, where there's like an incumbent who didn't immerse himself in scandal, lost to a grassroots funded opponent. I mean, like that would be a massive national story, as it should be. And it's only possible because David is who he is. So when you ask why this race, it's like you have to get behind remarkable candidates when they emerge and give them what they need to win.
Yeah. I think you guys are both so inspirational and necessary, important. And I think authenticity is a big theme for me that I see. And so thank you guys for that. That's the end of the Q&A.
I'm just going to give a shout out too. We need to do more to support musicians and artists. Right now, the economy in terms of supporting musicians and artists is it's exploitative essentially at this point. I mean, you have people who amass hundreds of thousands or millions of views in your case. The streaming services pay you fractions of a penny. And now there's no touring on the table. And so, you have an entire industry of creatives that inspire us all, touch us all, vital for the culture, incredibly productive economically, even if you were just to try and say hey, how many jobs does this create? So we should be doing much, much more to support artists. And I know David feels the same way. It's very humanity first.
Yes. Just makes sense. You're going to make me cry. Okay. On that note, I guess I'll perform now. Is that cool?
Clara, just before, and then Andrew, I know that you do have to go at in 5 minutes, but Clara will now be entering performances, so you're welcome to
I'm not going to leave while Clara's singing. I mean, for sure, at least I got to hear I got to hear my new favorite song. So I'll So yeah, Clara, please. That was sort of like an introduction of Clara without meaning to be. We need to support artists.
Yeah,
that's the way artists. We need to let artists do their work.
Yeah, this is my first show since the pandemic hit. All tours were off. Yeah, so here we go. First song, I put together some things. Let's see if you recognize them. I still believe in man. No wise one ask me why. 'Cause I just don't believe we're wicked. I know that we sin, but I do believe we try. We all try. The girls try. The boys try. Men try. Women try. You and I try. Me and all my friends, we're all misunderstood. They say we stand for nothing and there's no way we ever could. Now we see everything that's going wrong with the world and those who lead it. Just feel like we don't have the means to rise above and beat it. So we keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting. I still believe in man. I still believe in man. No wise one ask me why. 'Cause I just don't believe we're wicked. I know that we sin, but I do believe we try. We all try. The girls try, the boys try, men try, women try. You and I try.
Woo! Yay, Clara, so beautiful. Yay.
I think. Yeah, thanks, guys. I got one. Andrew, are you leaving?
I'll stick around for the song. That was so beautiful. Hey, David, this should be like some of your campaign music.
Yeah. It's a mashup of a Frank Ocean song and a John Mayer song. But yes, this next one is my original. And it's kind of about when I decided that I had been raised passive and it's time to have a voice and it's time to think for myself and figure out who I sing for, what I sing for, etc. So this song called Quesadilla.
That's what you stand for.
Grilled cheese, yeah. Can you guys hear okay? Everything's fine? Okay. I can't hear my own voice above all the rest. It's being silenced by your noise. I should have guessed. The question lies after your lies undressed. Whoa, 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 do I sing for? Whoa, said it's not you. It's not you. It's not you. It's not you. See, I wake up to realize it's not just a dream. 'Cause I'm here with Andrew and David, and y'all are looking back at me. Oh, you tuned in with mine and allowed me to see. Whoa, 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 do I sing far? Whoa, 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 whoa. Said it's not you. It's not you. You. It's not you. Woo. Okay. I won't settle anymore. I get less than I settle for. I won't settle anymore. I get less than I settled for. Won't settle anymore. I get less than I settled for. Won't settle anymore. I get less than I settled
Yay! Oh. That was awesome, Clara.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Don't settle for anything less than David Kim as your member of Congress.
Yeah.
That's right. So inspirational, so talented. Awesome. That's what we need more of in the world. I can't believe it's the first concert you played for this length of time. I feel like you should just be playing on the regular, Clara, because so many people would just like be uplifted by it.
Thank you. I shall. Same with you guys. Power to you.
That would be great.
No one wants to hear me playing a strum guitar, Clara. That's just you.
Oh, we all have our own. You're strumming guitar in your ways, you know.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's true. That's true. We all have our own messages to deliver in different ways. David, so thrilled for you, brother. Let's get you what you need to get that message to the people of your district so you can represent them in Congress come November. So excited for you. Clara, thank you for being here. Everyone who's here and supporting, if you donated to David, donate some more right now. I'm going to donate some more right now. If you have the capacity to do so, get in on it, because that's what today's about, is getting David and his campaign what they need to fight, win. So let's go. Let's give him what he needs, and let's get out there and act.
Let's go.
On our own behalf. On our own behalf. Let's not settle.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much, Andrew, for taking your time to be with us today.
No problem.
Yeah.
Always. Thank you all so much. Really, David Kim, the future, the president.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can make him the president in like a month.
Yay, 2024. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that was amazing, guys. Thank you so much. Clara, I don't know if you've thought of doing Twitch concerts, but that would be so, it would be healing so many people right now, like who just need music and that extra connection. That was so good. Thank you for performing for the first time during the pandemic.
My pleasure. That. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Oh gosh, my hair's going crazy.
All right.
Can y'all hear us first?
Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Everybody hears. So,
yes,
we are back. And there you heard Andrew Yang and David Kim. Please go to davidkim2020.com if you can donate to his campaign. As y'all know, we've had him on the show a couple times, and we love David Kim. He is an awesome, awesome person, and I really, really hope he wins out there in Los Angeles. That place is a mess. My gracious, man, they're going through it out there in California.
Mm-hmm.
So
we also have some breaking news.
Breaking news. Apparently, when the doctors came out and they talked earlier about Trump, and they talked about what they were administering to him, apparently what they were administering to him was something that they only give people who are starting to go through it. Now, I know that they said that they were going to potentially release Trump tomorrow. Not happening.
That would be completely dumb.
Because you're talking about day 5 of the infection. It peaks at about day 8.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to let him go right before the peak.
They need to keep him at least through day 8.
And listen, we need Trump to get better, because you don't want this to go to an election, oh my gosh, under those kind of circumstances. You just don't want that to happen.
So anyway, they're giving him steroids right now.
Right.
So I know from personal experience they will start giving steroids when your oxygen levels are too low and you just can't breathe. And normally they don't just give that to you unless you need it. So yeah. So it's not a good thing. I don't know what else to say besides that. They're conflicting reports, like with the doctors coming out and talking, and what you're reading, some like what the New York Times said yesterday, like certain things all coming out, they're contradicting each other because they don't want to reveal exactly how he's doing, especially if he's not doing that well.
All I know is The Simpsons has been predicting the future for a long time now. And if you go back into one of their older episodes, there's an episode where Trump is dead. Where Trump becomes president and then Trump is dead. So
in The Simpsons, how crazy is that? And you know how weird, how weird it is how The Simpsons have predicted so many things. Somehow, I don't know, it's weird. But
here's the thing, for those of you out there who don't like Trumpism as it is, as a lot of people refer to it, if you want to beat that mentality, you got to beat it at the ballot box. You can't, it can't be Mike Pence against Joe Biden, because then it's just Mike Pence against Joe Biden.
That was Photoshop.
And what was the Photoshop? Oh, the Simpsons thing?
Was it? See, I don't know. I haven't seen it myself. You saw it somewhere. Where did you see it?
Anyway, what, the Simpsons thing?
Yeah.
That was a long time ago, man. It was a long, like doing, you know how you go down the rabbit holes on you, you know how it is. Anyway,
yeah, we'll look into it.
We'll look into it.
So
And
that doesn't
we'll
really matter.
verify that. So, regardless of that, I hope Trump gets better, because I don't want to see it go to an election. Man, this country will be a hot mess if it comes down to that. It's going to be a hot mess anyway. So we just wanted to pass that along and let y'all know what was happening with Trump, and that he is going to. It's so hard to get your habit right when you're on the live stream, because it always goes backwards.
And you lost all your hair again.
And I lost all my hair again. I was going to wear my glasses, but
the glare.
Yeah. So anyway, we love you, Yang Gang. We hope that you enjoyed that cast with Andrew Yang, and we will definitely be bringing more of them to you in the future. So if you enjoyed it, please hit that thumbs up button. Tell your family.
Plus that performance by Clara. That was really cool.
Awesome performance. Yeah. My gracious. I wish I could sing.
Me too. I'll be singing to y'all right now.
I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road.
Anyways, we'll see y'all again soon. Got my Halloween shirt ready.
Got your Halloween face ready too.